everybody, welcome back to my channel. So it is that time of year again where I'm setting some home stretch goals. This is something that I started back in 2018 where I had an awful health year with surgeries and recovery and stuff at the beginning of the year, and I only really felt like I was getting back to myself towards the end of the year, and I wanted to set some goals for myself to see out the year on a bang, on a positive note, feeling like I'd achieved something. And then the tradition kind of continued, and it's become this thing where I take stock towards the end of the year, be really realistic about what it is that I want to focus on and prioritize what it is that actually can be done in the last few months of the year. Also bearing in mind that December is a bit of a write-off month because of Christmas. So it's really all about managing expectations and having a focus for the end of the year. So things that I really wanted to do don't get lost. And also I feel like I can end the year on a bit of a high in terms of like, yay, I did the things. So I encourage you to set your own home stretch goals if that's something that you want to do. But in this video, I'm gonna chat through some of mine whilst also looking at some of my mid-year goals, because those are the priorities I set in the middle of the year. So see how I'm doing with them, if there's anything that I want to change or anything new. So let's get into it. First up is our YouTube category. So not much has changed here since my mid-year goals. The focus for the Hannah Witton and Friends Sex and Relationships channel is very much about using joy and curiosity as my driving force for making decisions about what videos I want to make. I don't really have any goals other than that, but I just want to have that clarity in my head when it comes to making those decisions. So we also ran a little bit of a shorts experiment because that was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to actually put some effort into making short form content, and we did that, and the production process in terms of researching and writing and then filming was all fine and all really easy. We managed to like batch and bulk stuff, but then it all kind of fell apart when it came to the editing and the uploading, which is entirely on me because I just wasn't consistent with it. I didn't really have a schedule with it. So it's really hard to know what the impact of that experiment was and whether or not it's something worth doing again, because I just don't have enough information to decide whether it was worth it or not. I'd have to like do a whole other experiment again, but actually like really commit and be like, I'm gonna post 3 shorts every week for a month or daily for a month or whatever it is like that. But the reality was that I wasn't able to do that, and it was just really sporadic. So short form content is going to be one of those things that isn't on my like immediate priority list for my home stretch goals, but it's going to be probably one of the things that's like at the top of, if I do manage my main list, then this would be a nice added bonus. But I did really enjoy the process of making them, but just with everything else that I've got going on, it's hard to justify whether or not it's worth it. But it's also one of those things that is probably only worth it if you really, really commit to it, and isn't worth it to do it half-assed, which is all I'm capable of at the moment. Next up is the podcast. So this is probably the main focus for me for this time of year. We are currently fully in production for the next season of my podcast doing it, and this one is going to be very different to previous seasons. It is going to be 5 episodes released fortnightly. We're hoping to start releasing them in October, and so the season will run October, November, maybe a bit into December, and each episode is going to be on a different theme and like how that thing intersects and impacts sex and relationships. We are well into recording interviews, and we've just started on the first episode in terms of like building a structure and a script and piecing all the different parts of different interviews together. It is a challenge. It is not a way that I have worked before. I've not done anything like this, so it's really fun and exciting, but also really difficult. But this is the thing that is taking up most of my time and most of my focus. And I guess I have like 2 goals for this. One is to get it done, just do it. And 2 is to be proud of it and, you know, like what we make and feel good about what it is that we are putting out there. My next bunch of goals are related to Patreon. So there is going to be a lot going on Patreon, and a lot of it is related to the podcast. So my producer Mia and I have been recording episodes of the behind the scenes special podcast series for Patreon that we call So How Was That For You? Where we record a little debrief after every interview that we do, where we chat about the themes that came up, what we thought about it. There's also a lot of chat about the technical side of things because, oh boy, recording a podcast means that you come into a lot of technical difficulties and stresses. So we've been recording lots of that, and so one of my main jobs is going to be putting them all together, editing them and getting them out on Patreon. I still need to figure out like what the plan and the timings and the schedule is in terms of like when main episodes go out and when Patreon stuff goes out. But the other thing we're doing on Patreon is bonus episodes per theme, so per main episode. Because there's going to be multiple interviews per episode, but every interview that we record is basically like an hour and a half long, and we're having like at least 3 people in each episode, but each episode is only going to be like under an hour. So there is a lot of stuff that is gonna have to get cut, like edited bits, bloopers. And so with that, I'm gonna try and smush all of that together and release it for patrons as well. So there's a lot to do. Another exciting Patreon thing that is happening is that we are doing a special offer, and that is actually running now. We've made some special common room stickers using the new branding and the new illustrations. This will be available to all current patrons and anyone who signs up in the next few days before the deadline, which I believe is the 25th of September. All the info will be in the description and on Patreon. And so another big focus is going to be getting those sent out to everyone. Now, previously when I have run special offers, my home has become the post office. I've ordered all of the product and all of the postage and packaging to my home and packaged everything up and like handwritten on the envelopes myself. However, with a baby, a toddler, that is just not possible anymore. But my amazing assistant Moog is going to be doing it this year. So thank you so much, Moog. I'm so happy that we're still able to do these fun special offers. So we are starting with stickers. So if you'd like your common room sticker set, then do make sure to sign up to become a patron. And then of course you get all of this bonus podcast content as well. How exciting. So that's all the Patreon stuff that is happening and that is a priority and is a focus. And then there are 2 things that I have mentioned in my mid-year goals video that unfortunately just keep getting bumped and keep getting bumped. And the reality is that they are just gonna keep getting bumped. And I just have to be honest with myself in terms of being realistic about the amount of time that me and my team have to do everything, because we can't do everything. So one of those things is the Patreon survey. This is something that I really still want to do, and I ask my patrons what they want to know about each other so I can start to put together the survey. But this is just something that has been bumped from my to-do list every single week because other stuff just keeps coming up that's more urgent. And so I'm very sorry that this hasn't happened yet. It is definitely near the top of my list of like, if there is time, I will get to it. And I really do want to do this before the end of the year, but I can't make any promises. Just we'll see how this podcast stuff goes. And then the other thing is worksheets. We were going to create some sex and relationships based worksheets, and that is just another thing that's been bumped from the to-do list every week. And with everything else that we've got going on, we just decided let's put a pin in that so we're not stressing about it. So I don't know if they will happen in the future, but the idea is still there, and maybe, who knows, but just definitely not this year. Next up is a bit more big picture stuff rather than specific projects. So let's talk business. So my only home stretch goal in this category is figure out what I want to do next year. Normally I feel like I have some kind of plan, or there are projects that are going to be, you know, just going over and round and continuing into the new year. But because this podcast project is so huge and that is all going to be wrapped and finished by the end of the year, it does then feel like, oh, what next? But I just do not have the brain space right now to think about that. But I do want to sit down and like have a proper think about my 2024 plans at some point, because you know I love me making some goals and resolutions, and I love the, you know, end of year, new year as a time for reflection. Like, I know that you can do that anytime, but I'm a sucker for following it by the calendar. I think it's a great excuse. So that's easy, no biggie, just figure out what the hell I want to do next year. The next category is refilling the well. This comes up every time I set goals, especially since I've come back from my maternity leave because I just have not had time to do any input, do any learning, do any personal development. It has all been output, 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 go, go, go. And I've always set these really vague refilling the well goals that I have not been able to stick to, but I have come up with one very specific one for my home stretch goals, and that is to read Esther Perel's Mating in Captivity. Why, may you ask? Well, this has been on my TBR for ages, and I am seeing Esther Perel speak in London at the beginning of October, so perfect excuse, perfect deadline. It's just one book. You can do it, Hannah. You can do it. Come on. I'm saying it out loud so that I'll be held accountable and I'll read this damn book. I don't remember the last time I read a non-fiction book about sex and relationships, and like, isn't that part of my job, or shouldn't it be? And finally, I have some personal goals because we like to be well-rounded humans here. It's not all about work. Like, what personal stuff do I want to do by the end of this year? 1, make an apple crumble. I know the stakes are really high. I love baking, and I really haven't been able to do all that much of it since Rowan was born, and apple crumble is one of my favorite desserts, and it also feels very like autumny and wintry because it's like nice and hot and some hot custard on it as well. It's a bit time consuming with like all of the apple chopping and then the crumbling and stuff, but I just want to make one apple crumble before the end of this year. That's all I want. And I know it's possible. I'll just pick a weekend when Dan is around and I just make it. I need to get the ingredients first, but it's possible. I just need to prioritize it. My next goal is to make a good dent in Baldur's Gate with Dan. This is a new video game that we're playing. It's a big co-op RPG. It's Dungeons and Dragons, although I've never actually played physical Dungeons and Dragons. The last RPG Dan and I played was Divinity Original Sin 2, and we played that mostly during the year when I was recovering from surgery. Also, like, we didn't have a child then, so we played that all of the time, and even that took us a really long time to finish. So Baldur's Gate is gonna take us a really long time to finish, but I want to play lots of it, as much as we possibly can before the end of this year, and then continue into the next year. But I want to make a good dent in that game. How big of a dent? Who knows? I don't know how big this game is. It seems massive. And then I also want to get stuck into tennis again. I know it's not the best time of year for that, but I have found some indoor courts near me. I've had 2 like group coaching tennis sessions since Rowan was born, and it was so fun, but I haven't had a chance to do any more. But I'm hoping post-summer now I can get into a bit more of a routine with that. I just love tennis so much. I love the physicality of it. I love that I'm learning a skill. I love moving my body in that way. I love the sound that the tennis balls make. It's great. I also love a little bit of healthy competition, you know? So there we have it. Those are my home stretch goals for the end of 2023. Now that I'm saying it all out loud, I'm like, is this actually realistic, Hannah? You said at the beginning about managing expectations and being realistic about what's achievable. And now that I've gone through everything, I'm like, oh dear God, what have I done? But it's fine. Part of all of this is also to be kind to ourselves if we don't get round to everything that we wanted to do. I like having a focus because it really helps me make decisions when new stuff comes in as well. It really helps to be like, what do I say yes to? What do I say no to? Because I've set my intentions now in terms of what I want to prioritize and what I have time for. So there we go. If you are going to be setting any home stretch goals, feel free to leave them in the comments if you want to. I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that we can all see out this year on a positive note, feeling like we've done something. But also, if you need to rest, that is totally valid too. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.